I know Steve's going to be really happy. The Whale Lord with Waterfall. That thing is tanky. Welcome everyone to the Poke Battle Network. We are here today to give you the Polkadot Cup core building and team breakdowns. I have an amazing crew, like cast analysts, gentlemen joining me at the table today. Like, I can't describe how exciting this is, what a treat this is for us trainers to have the Season 4 World Finalists, World Champion VroomVroomPow, and World Finalists rise to the occasion. Join me today to talk about this really intricate, amazing cup of Polkadot Cup. So, how are you gentlemen liking Season 5?
You know, I've been really enjoying it. I like a lot of high profile players have kind of like taken a step back from individual Silph, and I had like some of those reservations as well. Like if I wanted to spend as much time, because I do grind it pretty hard in terms of like the amount of battles I would play. I would do the maximum like 6 tournaments a month previous seasons. And then when they announced it was going to be like into waves and it was like every 2 months and every battle counts the same, that was like really appealing to me. I liked the changes a lot because it's a bit less of a commitment, and I've really enjoyed the Ionic Cup this month. So I've done like a bunch of tournaments. I've done most of my 40 this month, and that way next month in Polkadot I can maybe just do like 1 tournament, and then this will be a good opportunity to help understand what the meta is all about.
Vroom?
Yes, I personally like that. Like historically, I've always had this reservation about Silph that it gets too stressful to coordinate. It gets too stressful to do like six tournaments every month. So I'm really enjoying a very stress-free like coordination. Like I would say, like as Rai said, like a lot of elite players have taken a step back, but I still feel that Silph in general, like playing Silph metas, like is more relaxing in general. And honestly, like they have done a really good job. Like as Rai said, I'm also really enjoying Ionic Cup. I'm only going to clock about maybe like 26 rounds. So so I will have like a couple of tournaments to play for Polkadot Cup for sure. But yeah, like definitely, like I enjoyed Ember, I enjoyed Ionic, like great metas. Like it's very relaxed this time. So definitely having a fun season so far.
Let's take a look at it, as the Polkadot Cup is 100 Pokemon that Silph has picked out with Bug, Fairy, Field, Flying Egg, and Flying Egg groups.
I've taken a bit of a look. Like I've looked at some of the ones, and I took a look at the TV book rankings. Like that's mostly about it.
Yeah, I've got the list up now, as you can see in the Gen 1. There's just some interesting Pokemon. Zwoobat! We get my favorite, little Zwoobat. Loving the Zwoobat, who got the Psychic Fangs in a couple of updates back there.
Samurott, we've seen a little bit in the past couple of metas. It's usually a really good safe swap, just because of how spammy it is with that Fury Cutter and Hydro Cannon. So even against like electric types like Luxray or Galvantula, like those Hydro Cannons still hit quite hard. So Samurott, really strong pick, it seems like, in a lot of these Silph formats.
Yeah, I feel that interesting choice that people will have to make will be between Galvantula and Beetle. I think bug types are like bug type damage. Like Beetle and Galvantula like don't have direct bug type damage, but like they're both pretty interesting. And like Beetle doesn't, like right off the bat, like I can't see anything that hard walls like Beetle's moves. So I think Beetle with energy, like it doesn't hit quite as hard as a Shadow Beetle, like as most people have been noticing in Ionic. But like it's still gonna be around. I think it's still pretty meta relevant. That's what I think.
Yeah,
A lot of debuff mons in this meta, where things like Seviper and even the Superior you mentioned, like with that potential Leaf Tornado you could run, which can be really annoying to play against. So seems like there's a lot of debuff potential in this cup, which gameplay, right? Like maybe somebody safe swaps out of a lead, and rather than just like immediately counter swap, you could like go for the debuff and then counter swap. Or also, you probably have to be careful to not, like, if possible, to not be stuck in a situation where you have one Pokemon remaining and then you get debuffed and then you're locked in and can't clear that debuff.
I'm noticing all these Pokemon can be played as different utilities. So for instance, right, we'll go with Girafarig. Girafarig is a great confusion user Pokemon, but in this meta, I'm seeing a lot of normal typing. So Girafarig rocking that double kick and having that Psychic Fang, I feel like a lot of these Pokemon are now definitely used as 2-time, or maybe like you could use them differently. Am I the only one seeing that room, or is that a thing? Or am I hoping for Girafarig?
You know, I definitely agree. Like Girafarig, like it's again like especially when your opponent is gonna know like that your Girafarig can have either of the moves, like double kick or confusion. It's gonna be really hard for them to switch in versus a Girafarig. And
I feel like there's definitely lots of play around here.
Yeah, that Girafarig was a great point, because I feel like most Silph metas, like, there can be some moveset decisions, but normally you're going to see one thing in particular, like in a couple of the last metas with like Munchlax or Greedent, like maybe you'll see a Bullet Seed Greedent, but most of them have been Tackle. Versus, I feel like Girafarig, you really could go either direction, because there are quite a few poison types where that confusion is going to be really valuable. There's also a lot of normal and ice types that could make an appearance where you could surprise them with double kick. Probably just depends on the team comp. I would think confusion's probably the way to go, but I wouldn't be totally against double kick either.
There's about 30 normal types in this meta, and 11 ice and 11 ground typing. So that's mostly half of the meta is weak to a fighting type move there. And as your team building going along this Polkadot Cup, that is something you should look at. When they do these condensed Pokemon, how many of the typings are there? How many of one typing? Like, that way you can start figuring out what charge move typing is going to be real valuable for you. Let's talk about our core picks for this meta and what battlers should be looking to, what Pokemon battlers should be looking to when they're thinking about building their teams. So here we go. We're going to talk about core picks on what to do when you want to look Pokemon that you should start looking into that could help you build. Number one, like, first thing you should always do, look at the number one on PV Poke. It's Zubat. Confusion user, my favorite Pokemon, except it doesn't have a good flying move, so I don't know the move set. I choose Luxaray as my core pick for you. And the reason I do that is, again, this meta is a very play to yourself as a battler, team building kind of meta, just like Ionic. And Ionic, Luxaray was so strong, you already feel comfortable with it. It's got that debuff Psychic Fang. It's quick to the sparks. You know how to play around it. If you're looking to build right off the bat with Polkadot Cup, Luxaray would be a great one to start with if you've been playing Ionic, because it keeps you in the game, understanding why there's debuffs going on, understanding the nuke game, and you already know the damage it can take. You already know what kind of game to play around it. So it's great as a battler when you're going through these intricate moments that you can be able to take that knowledge from last game and keep carrying it over, and then it just becomes second nature. We talk about this a lot, and they talk about this a lot in GBL, where they say just play the same line and you just start feeling more and more comfortable. When you do the team building, I suggest the same thing, playing Pokemon that you're already playing in other metas because you're already comfortable in their play style. The Wild Charge, handling those water Pokemons, and the Psychic Fang is just there as a team synergy game to just help the rest of your line. And in Ionic Cup, Luxaray has just been so helpful as a debuffer, one of the only debuffers out there having all these other debuffers now is real interesting, but I would suggest playing with the one you feel comfortable with now, unless you feel good with Giraffe Rig or something like that. And that is my take on the beautiful Luxaray.
Yeah, Luxray is so dangerous. Makes it like a bit of a mind game, right? I've had some games using it in Ionic where maybe I'll like just throw Wild Charge right away and then dip out. And sometimes people don't think you're going to Wild Charge immediately and debuff yourself, so they just let it go. And boom, their Pokemon goes bye-bye. So it's definitely very dangerous and great at getting you shield advantage to set up your other Pokemon.
Room, would you like to hit us with your calculations?
Like there are too many normal types in this meta. So like I think one of the things that everyone would want to know is like what is the best normal type, and realizing that nothing in this meta resists tackle or resists normal type moves. I feel that running like Castform with the fast move of tackle and likely like I can talk about the movesets in a bit. Like it's probably one of the best Pokemon in this meta. It's one of the best neutral picks. Like it hits everything. Like once we look at some teams, like I think everyone can start realizing that even if you face some counter users, the double kick users, like it probably is a losing matchup still, but like you still have some play. Like you never get hardwalled by anything. So I think while Energy Ball has a lot of play, like something like Samurott or Dugong, like not Dugong is weak to rock, but like something like Samurott, you probably want to hit with the Energy Ball. But I think like with normal typing being so strong, like and there being bug types in this meta, or there being like fire types in this meta, or like Pokemon like Jump Fluff or Ice types, like you want both rock and normal coverage. So I would personally go with like both the weather balls. And like as you said, you know, it's a very debuff oriented meta. It's a very bait dependent meta, and Castform is just one of those few months that will never have to be. So like I think it's one of the best picks, or one of the better picks in my opinion. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, and like you said, even the few kind of counters to it, like the few counter users in this meta are pretty frail. Blaziken, Donphan, and Heracross. So like, let's say you swap your Castform and they counter you with one of those three, like those aren't going to appreciate the tackles and the weather ball. So it's going to be uncomfortable for them to try and like comfortably secure that matchup, I would think. And the bulkiness of Castform is really nice, and that stab tackle, that stab normal weather ball is like Vroom said, just going to be really strong and safe and neutral across the board.
Yeah, it seems like Silph has done a really good job this season, bringing out the tackle and the comfort of normal typings, really putting a ban on counter users and stuff like that, and very neutral. Could be, would you use it as a lead or a safe swap or a closer? What are your thoughts?
I think it could be. I would not use it as a closer,
Okay.
but like it could be a very like interesting Pokemon to like you win lead and you RPS the back line. So like it could be very useful in the lead. Like you just soak a lot of damage and you farm up with, and then you soft lose. Like maybe the opponent has to shield to preserve switch, and then you come and farm down with something like Luxray, and then you like try to sweep through the back line. Like that could be really interesting. But it also, as Rise just said, it also works as a really good safe swap. Like it draws out the fighters. Like it can do some damage against them. Yeah, like so I think like I would not close with it, but like as a lead or as a safe swap, like sounds very good.
Mr. Rise, what is your first analysis Pokemon of coring it up?
I believe it is also known as the Spooter or the Spider. It is Galvantula, and it's ranked pretty dang high. In the rankings, it's number 3, and I think it could be the way to go for people's electric type, because it gives you that consistent lunge debuff I'm not a huge fan of the Beedrill matchup for Galv. I think it says, if you look on PvPoke, that it wins, but the thing is, like, those jabs add up very quickly, and also Beedrill's going to outpace to X Scissors. So I don't love that matchup for Galv. But in terms of resisting electric, getting that debuff off against things, I think it's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. And I'm a fan of Galv mostly for the other electric types, because against like a Raichu, a Kanto Raichu, for example, which I thought about as a pick, or against a Luxray, or if someone goes a little spicier with like Zebstrike I'm seeing, or Ampharos, you have that neutral lunge to debuff them and then take even less damage from the already resisted electric type moves. So yeah, I think Volt Switch, Lunge, Discharge seems like the way to go for sure. And yeah, also with all the water types, right? Samurott, Araquanid, Dugong. Struggle Galv sometimes have is its lack of bulk. So like, let's say you swap your Galv into an Araquanid, like, I don't know, like the Bug Buzz and the Bug Bites could still be threatening. So that's something to be careful of if you do use Galv, that it's probably going to require shields.
Okay, so then my question to you, Rise, same question. Do you lead with it, or do you safe swap it in?
They don't have a ground type. It could be a very lethal safe swap. Could also lead it and debuff something in the lead, and then either maybe you win that matchup, or let's say you win the lead and they come in with something like I mentioned earlier, you can utilize that debuffing lunge to debuff whatever comes in, and then help secure the matchup when you swap in. So
these three Pokemon are in the top 5. They are number 2 Luxray, number 5 Castform, number 3 Galvantula. They are top for a reason. We chose them as top. But gentlemen, there is a reason why we have cores, and there's always 2 Pokemon that you want to pair your top Pokemon with when you're team building. So let's look at those now. Mr. Rise, what is your second core Pokemon that you think players should have to pair with Galvantula?
My pair with Galvantula as a core is the lesser common Sandslash in PvP, the Kanto Sandslash. And he is ranked at number 27, so kind of like that second tier meta range. However, if you think of it really simply, like, what is Galvantula? Weak to, it's not great against the poison types just because they're oppressive damage, and it's weak to ground. And you've also got Sandslash as kind of like a pseudo rock type to help handle some of these bugs with that rock tomb. So that's the reason for that. And I think the Night Slash is going to really come in handy as well against the 2 most common psychic types of Swoobat and Girafarig. So you can spam off Mud Shot, Night Slash very quickly. It's like the spammiest combination we have in the game, along with like Politoed for Weather Ball. So just super spammy. And then that Rock Tomb, it is non-stab, so it's not like the heaviest hitting move by any means, but it is going to be threatening to the other bugs, Galvantula and Beedrill mostly, and even in your bad matchups like Dugong or Araquanid, you still at least have that Rock Tomb, so you're not like completely hard-walled in those bad matchups. So I like Sandslash for that reason. It's always nice if you can get a Night Slash boost as well, and I think they make a pretty solid core together.
They do. I mean, with the poisons out there, you said you got to be worried about the Nidoking. The Nidoking was ranked high up in this meta as well, so that is something to be aware of. And there are some poisons like Civ Viper that is coming out there that could play. So having that cover against to protect the Galvantula, that's a great call. That Rock Tomb, it also debuffs, right? Or does it? It doesn't also proc?
It's guaranteed 1 stage attack drop for the opponent.
So you've got a debuffer move and a buff up move on a Pokemon. Well done, sir. Where most of us are just looking at the one proc move, you got a 2 proc Pokemon up there. Well done, sir. That's great. That's a great Pokemon.
Yeah, I guess one concern would be Donphan does break this core a little bit. Just because with Donphan having counter, like, it's probably not the best matchup for Sandslash, and Sandslash can really just Night Slash it. And then, of course, the ground typing resisting Galv. So I feel like Donphan could be a little bit of a sleeper pick here. And also, not having the Earthquake could hinder in some situations. Let's say like shields are down and there's like a Seviper or something, and you don't have that move that can just one shot it. It could be costly, but I think the coverage probably makes the most sense for Rock Tomb Night Slash. But I wouldn't hate it if someone decided to go with Earthquake instead.
It's very interesting that there is no ground move there as well. Yeah, that's a good point. Cause Vroom Vroom, would you like to give us your calculation on your core pick, your second core pick?
Yes. So I feel that with like a lot of bug types and like electric types and like even Jumpluff around or like ice types around, like it's good to have a really good fire type in your team. And there are like many of them, like Litleo and Blaziken, but like I wouldn't say that Arcanine is my pick. I wouldn't say it forms like an exact core with Castform, but like I wouldn't say like it complements all of the weaknesses, because Arcanine is also weak to counter users, like especially Blaziken. Like outside Blaziken, like it can really, like with Fire Fang, like I was considering a Pokemon like Heracross or Chestnut, like which can do a lot of damage against Galvantula, or something like as we just talked about, like Girafferic, like Arcanine with Fire Fang like has one of the hardest hitting fast moves in this meta. So like Arcanine, like with that Psychic Fang, like it can like slowly like chip away at anything that is not a water type, and it can do a lot of damage. And even against the water type, let's say what I'm thinking, for example, is let's say I lead Arcanine into a Samurott, and I save swap out, and I build up energy over time on the Arcanine. I can hit the Samurott with a Wild Charge. Like, so Arcanine, definitely I wouldn't say it would be like meta, but like I like to have maybe experiment with like a couple of ice effects, like Pokemon that have a lot of potential to sweep through teams, and Arcanine definitely seems like it can fulfill that thing.
Yeah, I would say
if you really think about it, like we talked about Luxaray, we talked about Girafferic as a double kick user. I wouldn't say confusion, but like one of the things, Arcanine has a lot of synergy with its own charge move, because like the Psychic Fang debuffs actually really helps the fast move as well. Like it can be useful if you run some, like Snarl could be useful not necessarily with Psychic Fangs, but like with like double nukes, for example. Like you could run, like Arcanine learns Crunch and Flamethrower. So like if in case you're like especially going after like bug types and fire, like grass types, like you can run Flamethrower with Snarl, and that can like really hurt them. So like that could be really interesting as well, like for sure.
Yeah, the charge move could actually, or the fast move could actually change the charge move setup and turn Arcanine into a shield pressure instead of a fast move damage Pokemon. That is incredible.
Yeah, like it's mostly if like it can be useful, for example, if like you don't want a Luxray, which can be weak to, for example, something like Charmers, like our fairy types in this meta. But like you want a Pokemon that can beat fairy types, but like performs a similar function to Luxray, then running Snarl, Wild Charge, like Psychic Fang, like it can be really helpful. Yeah. And I believe they have similar stats at least. Like
they do. That's interesting. But it's got the Fire Fang, which is nice and good for, as we talked about, all the grass, the fairy, the bug Pokemon that are flying out there. And if Galvantula is going to be numero uno, and I forgot to mention this as well, all 5 of our Pokemon here hard wall one Pokemon, and I think that we're subconsciously just afraid of it, and it's just always on our minds no matter what, and that is the Beedrill. And I just want to make that honorable mention here that Beedrill is so good that all 5 of our Pokemon actually put really good pressure onto it. So you don't have to build a Beedrill for your team if you don't want to. Where are you playing Arcanine? Is he your lead, or is he your swap, or closer?
I think I will mostly like, unless like, I think it could be like a really interesting closer, like, because I just mentioned Castform being one of those mons that can win lead, that can lose soft lose lead with a shield advantage. Then Arcanine can come in and like it can like really put a lot of fast move on the opposite team. And like I prefer it being a Pokemon like being a bit glassy, that it like you save shields for it and then you fire fang the rest of the team down. Like you debuff their team and you fire fang it down. So I think the Arcanine could be a really good counter swap.
It is for the Arcanine. Well, then I will close this up with my pick, my final core pick, and I absolutely picked it immediately. I knew that it was top 10, the king of it all, Nidoking. I've been ranting and raving since we've been introduced to it from the Kanto Cup. I love Nidoking. I feel it needed the Sand Tomb to make it valuable. It's got the Mega Horn. You can Elite TM a Fury Cutter if you want. I don't suggest it. But the Nidoking here to complement the Luxaray. It covers all that Luxaray's weak to, those counter users, that like fast normal those normal thickness. It gives you that poison. Nidoking here is just spam on debuff. It's the king. You can hang on to those psychics, those grass typings because of that Mega Horn. Sludge Wave on this thing. And I would recommend doing Sludge Wave or Mega Horn as well if you feel like your team is better to have a Sludge. If you feel like Poison will be more valuable than the Bug typing here on that. You could do Earthquake. I don't know why Sand Tomb after the second one grows to be just as strong as a hard Mud Bomb to most of these Pokemon. So I wouldn't suggest going and building for the Earthquake. I'd suggest manipulating it for either the Bug typing or the Sludge Bomb. Now, this Pokemon also has Double Kick. I don't suggest that. And the reason I don't suggest Double Kick with Nidoking is because Double Kick's supposed to be there to help you with the counters, or not the counters, the normal typings. And Poison can do just fine with it. Like, you don't need to have that super effective fighting move, and Poison Jab generating that 7 and getting you to that Mega Horn or that Sludge Bomb or that Sand Tomb a lot quicker. Double Kick takes its time. If you don't match up with the neutral, it does literally nothing to any other typing out there. Like, I stick with the Poison on the Nidoking. Other Pokemon like Girafarig, Double Kick is the way to go because of the moves that Girafarig has, and the Pokemon that come against it. Double Kick doesn't do anything to Samurott, and you'll probably see a lot of Samurotts coming after it. Double Kick doesn't do that much to Dugong, so rather just go with the Poison and just do, get your wins where you need to. But that is my take on the King, as he is pairs really well to protect my Luxaray. So this core duo here having a great time in the Polkadot Cup.
Poison Jab definitely being the way to go. I think it's just a lot more oppressive and more like consistent in this meta for sure.
Yeah. So those are our 6 core Pokemon. Vroom Vroom. With your 2 Pokemon, how do you feel about them in this meta? With this meta?
I feel good. Like, I feel like I feel that I have enough fast move pressure on the team already. So, which is something that like, definitely this meta is going to be about a mixture of like fast move pressure, debuffs, like like not knowing what fast move your opponent is carrying, like I think that can completely change the matchups. And like definitely like bulk. So I think just like not just within these 2 Pokemon, but like within all the 6 picks that we have made, like we have covered almost everything, like debuffs, poison damage,
Yeah.
normal damage, fire damage, ground damage, rock damage. I feel really good about like our core 6 Pokemon as a whole.
Rise, how do you feel about your core?
I like it. I think I'm more sold actually, despite Galvantula being number 3 and Sandslash being number 27. I'm gonna be more sold on Sandslash just because I really like the spamminess of the Night Slash against the psychic types like we talked about, and I also like how it does against the opposing electric types like Galv and like Luxray. Gal, I think I'm more open to other bugs. I think it's a strong bug, but like you could put Beedrill in that slot. You could also put like Luxray as a fellow electric type in that slot. So I think I like the core, and maybe could be open to change on the Galv, but I like Sandslash as like a more niche pick.
My 2 core picks. I'm comfortable with both of these Pokemon. I know them very well. I feel like you need the debuff either way, and everything's going to be somebody's going to be rocking a debuff, so you got to be able to debuff them there. And if you can get 2 debuffers that complement each other and put that pressure down like Luxray and that Nidoking does with their nukes and that bait potential, I feel like you could really open up for the rest of your team. I feel like these 2 are great core bench pressure Pokemon that will help when it comes down to picking lines and debating against your team. When your opponent sees these 2, they're going to have to play something specific. You can't just play Samurai. You can't just play a grass Pokemon. You can't just play anything they want, because they're gonna see either one of them, and so they're gonna have to find real general Pokemon, in which case you can bring out and build more normal around and continue the generalist way. But this core here, really liking them, and love what they bring for me in my team building. That is a good core pick, and you're right, you could either as the bug or the electric. And again, Polkadot again showing us that beauty of its team build towards you, the battler. Specifically, if you're not really feeling Galvantula, you can plug in an electric type and have the Luxray, Dedenne, Minun, something there for your electric. Or if you feel like your bug typing is going to be better, you can throw in your Scolipede, your Venomoth, something, you know, that you would like as a bug type there in that situation. So wonderful core and beautiful display here of the Polkadot Cup from you guys in your core picks. Thank you all for watching the Poke Battle Network. A big shout out to VroomVroomPow and Rise to the Occasion. A thank you for the world finalists of Silph Season 4 as world champion. VroomVroomPow gave us some wonderful core picks, as well as Knoxville regional champion and world finalist of Silph, Rise to the Occasion, gave us some lovely insight on 6 Pokemon. Be sure to tune in later this week as we will be doing team building with these 2 amazing battlers, and be sure to follow the amazing community that we follow with Roundtable Chat Talk, Beginner to Winner, As the Pokeball Turns, Pallet Town PvP, PvP Steve, and Poke Battle Network. Thank you all for watching this Poke Battle Network episode. I'm SosaFlow, and like always, enjoy your battles.